Welcome to ICANN Media. I'm your host, Rob Hislop. We are coming to you from Calgary. We are at the Oil and Gas Awards Industry Summit. One of the things they spoke about here is innovation and trying to change the way business is done. We had the opportunity to meet this gentleman right now, and you're going to get a chance to meet him as well. Dan Giurescu with Caledonia Solutions. Dan, innovation is part of your company, but first let's talk about your company, how it started out and what you do.
So we've been in business for about 4.5 years, and what we do is we take the paper trailed manifests that everybody's using today in order to try to track and maintain the regulatory compliance across all of Canada, and we make that electronic. So what that does is it actually directly impacts your bottom line, your OPEX, which is very important in oil prices like today. But at the same time, you also get a chance to make sure you're always 100% regulatory compliant the moment a truck leaves your facility gate and it reaches a producer's or a receiver's facility gate. So what we'll do is we'll take basically all the information within your company, take a look at the MSAs you have in place, and based on that, we'll create a pre-fillable electronic manifest that then will take an operator less than 90 seconds to produce at any given point in time.
So how does this save a company money?
So we save a company money by actually taking the entire life cycle of the movement of a document today between the generator, the transporter, and the receiver, and we shorten that entire life cycle to less than one business day for somebody to be able to produce an invoice back to the generating company. That today is a practice that in the industry takes anywhere between 90 to 120 business days. So taking it down to less than 1 day is what brings us to that next innovative state.
So, which also means the company likely gets paid faster as well.
Well, when you're thinking about it in general, we're looking at over $500 million in outstanding receivables a year that some of these companies have to carry, which puts you in a situation where you now can go back and say, I can trace everything that happened from start to finish. I know exactly where my load started, how much they started with, and what they ended up at when it reached the landfill. So by doing that entire life cycle, you now capture the process, not only electronically, have an auditable environment, but then you can report back to the government as required, and at the same time provide that information directly to your billing department and submit a bill to the producer or the generator of the waste basically by the end of that business day. So that's something that has brought us to that next level of innovation and technology basically.
So the oil industry, we were talking to a gentleman who gave a keynote speech on innovation. And one of the things he said is when the money was rolling in, they didn't care about innovation. Now that the money is tight, they're looking at it, but it's still difficult sometimes to convince people in this industry to make change. And I would think a lot of people, if they have a chance to actually hold the paper in their hand, that's what they're used to doing, and that's what they want to do. How do you convince them that doing it electronically is safe, that they won't risk losing anything? Because I'm sure that's part of the fear.
That's right. Yeah. So we do get quite a bit of that feedback and those questions that you just asked right now. So you really nailed it when it comes down to people being used to having something physical in their hands. We're not saying you have to release that physical aspect of it. What we're telling you is that by having cleaner data, which is entered by the operator from the beginning of the process, helps you create more proactive environment decisions by minimizing your waste streams, which is an important topic that was discussed at the beginning of the Oil and Gas Awards gala today, as well as you're going to be able to take that information and really apply it to what are decisions I am going to make down the road, and how are those going to impact directly my bottom line. This is something today that a lot of people see it as a skewed process, because by entering bad data and forwarding that data to somebody else who's going to back data enter it for you in another system just puts it in a situation where bad data gets filled in with more bad data. So by the time you're done this entire process, you don't have the right information at your fingertips. The neat part about it is that by having clean data, you can now actually help the emergency response teams that are in situations like Lac Magnetique, which is obviously a hot topic across all of Canada. You can now be in a situation where you know exactly how to react and what to do with that specific train set in this example, and know exactly what belongs on each one of those carts. So how do you as an emergency responder act effectively and efficiently in a way where you don't put people's lives at risk by having that clean data at your fingertips? Because we are a web-based software and everything is done online, we do have an option to make sure that everybody has access to that data live. And that's something that today is very highly sought after.
So you've been around for a few years. How has the oil industry responded to what you've got to offer?
So we've had some of the majors be a part of our piloting program when we originally started, and since then they've continued using it very effectively. This has given them the ability to not only create awareness to what it is that they do in a day-to-day environment, but they've been able to use the product for their environmental work and sustainability. So it comes down to, how do I show my shareholders that I am being somebody that's proactive in what it is that I'm doing? So that's been something that's been really key with the way we've been running our business with the majors in the last couple of years.
And as far as expanding it goes from there?
So our product is really neat because it impacts anybody that's using a paper trail process today. As you can tell, we are here today at the Oil and Gas Awards, and we're being nominated tonight for Industry Supplier of the Year for one reason only, is because we've been able to take that process and map it across multiple parts of the industry and have a lot of different groups of people inadvertently impacted and have the capability to use it in the day-to-day processes.
Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great week.
We've been chatting with Dan Giurescu with Caledonia Solutions here on ICANN Media.